Next, we are going to hear from Wakeelah Martinez. Among all the things she does, she suddenly realized she's been in Wichita for 17 years taking care of her elders. I don't know about you, but if I was taking care of 3 elders for 17 years, it wouldn't take me that long to realize it. So you must be very selfless. After caring for 3 elders, her father, aunt, and uncle, she is now preparing her mother for her last stage. She believes all of us have a sacred contract, and hers has been that of a servant. No matter what she does or how she feels, she will always fulfill her contract.
I was in Houston 2 days ago being honored for my Queen Mother's work in Africa. And often when people hear my story, they go like, and you've been caring for elders and you've been shut in, and how did you do all that? Always follow your contract and everything will flow. So my name now is Queen Mother Elder Wakeelah Martinez. My parents are Georgia and Tony Martinez. My father was Mexicano. I was the only girl, and what happened was I was not allowed to do anything, and if I did anything wrong, you were bad. But my brothers lived their lives. So when I was happily doing my academician work in Howard University, I've taught in Malaysia, Ghana, and then I settled for 33 years with Howard University in Morgan State. And then I came home and my dad was not doing well. He had Parkinson's. My mother had stenosis of the spine, bad heart, all these things. I said, I got to go home and take care of parents. But in the meantime, I was also a caregiver of a grandson whose mother was murdered when he was 4 months. He was raised in Malaysia. He's always been with me, so he came home too. Imagine being 50 and taking care of a teenager in Wichita who finally found out that, hey, you can do a lot of stuff in Wichita. You can't do in Baltimore. So between them and my parents and dad dying from Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, then my mother got well, she could do more. And then my aunt and uncle, my uncle and my aunt always lived next door to us. And they were like my parents because they did not have children. So when my uncle got Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, I started doing that. Then my aunt fell down her steps and had Alzheimer's. Dementia in the middle of it. So that way, I called hell when I was over there. They lived very near each other, so I was 24/7 with an Arlo who went off if somebody moved. Because my aunt did not believe that my uncle was sick and that he could walk. So I'm up all hours of the night. This is going to go, but I will tell you. I figured out one thing. You got to make yourself first. So I decided to go to ARP, Center for Health and Wellness, and say, can you fund a caregiver's retreat so that I can get some help and other people can understand what that wellness is all about? So we ended up, the Council of Elders sponsored and we're backing it. And we did a caregiver's retreat for the first time. We brought people together. And what this is a holistic approach to your own wellness. So we dealt with somatic work in the body, movement, because that's one of the things that happens. You like this all the time because you're trying to keep somebody alive, and then you're handling people physically. And then we also dealt with diet and wellness. So we brought Chef Miguel, if you remember him. He came in and we all cooked together and we talked about different foods that will stimulate different kinds of body reaction. We also sat with a high-level meditator who taught me that the silence that you give yourself. So now, to give you a hint on how I've survived this, and people don't understand. They always go like, oh, wow, that's a lot. And yes, it is a lot. And yes, I am so done that, when food gets so burned that if you touch it, it just turns into ashes. Okay, that's where I'm at. With Mom being my last, I had a really traumatic childhood. My parents were stricter on me than they were my brothers. So when I returned, people who knew me, they said, God, how you doing that? Because your parents are kind of hard, you know. And I said, well, we have a contract. I made a promise that I would have to keep, and that is let them leave the planet from home. And so we did these caregiver retreats. We have one coming up in June through AARP. And people walk away with it with a practice. So every day, my practice is to sit for an hour, listen to 472 megahertz, which is positive energy, vibration, sound that goes through your body, so that I would stop getting up and saying, oh my God, you woke me up again. I told you, don't wake me up. So I had to shift and began to do more stuff for myself at the beginning of the day. So what I want to share with you all, I know my time is up, is one thing. When you sit